Look down at what you're wearing right now. A shirt, maybe pants, something on your feet. You put these on this morning without thinking twice. But strip away every stitch of fabric and you're left with something strange. A naked, nearly hairless primate standing in the open. No fur, no claws, no fangs. And yet somehow that same fragile creature conquered ice ages, crossed frozen tundras, and spread into every climate on Earth. How? The answer isn't modesty. It's not even really about warmth, not at first. The real story starts with something much stranger, hiding in your DNA. Let's go back further than clothing itself, to why humans lost their fur in the first place. Around 2 million years ago, your ancestors were becoming long-distance runners. Most predators on the savanna were sprinters, fast for a few hundred meters, then exhausted. Humans discovered something no other primate had. If you could keep moving longer than your prey could keep running, you'd win, even without claws or speed. This strategy is called persistence hunting, and it required one crucial upgrade: a way to dump heat fast. Thick fur traps heat. So, over hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors shed it, replacing fur with millions of sweat glands and bare skin built for cooling. It worked, but it came with a cost. A hairless body is a body with almost no protection from cold, sun, or injury. For a long time, that trade-off was fine. Early humans lived in warm, equatorial Africa. But then something happened that should have been impossible. Humans started leaving Africa. They pushed into Europe and Asia, into places where winter could kill an unprotected primate in a single night. A naked, sweat-cooled body evolved for the savanna had no business surviving a European ice age. So how did they do it? For decades, anthropologists assumed the answer was obvious: clothing. Early humans figured out how to wear animal skins, and that solved the cold. Simple enough, except there was a problem nobody could solve. Animal hide rots. Fur decomposes. Nothing about early clothing survives in the archaeological record. There are no artifacts, no scraps, no direct evidence at all for when humans actually started wearing anything. For a species defined by its material culture, the invention of clothing left behind nothing. It should have been an unsolvable mystery. And then, in 2003, scientists found the answer in the last place anyone expected. Not in a cave, not in fossils, in lice. A biologist named Mark Stoneking, working with a research team, looked at two closely related species living on the human body right now: head lice and body lice. Head lice cling to hair on your scalp. Body lice are different. They can only survive by living in clothing, laying their eggs in fabric fibers, only visiting skin to feed. Body lice, in other words, could not exist before clothing existed. There was nowhere for them to live. So Stoneking's team did something clever. They compared the DNA of head lice and body lice to calculate exactly when the two species split apart. The moment body lice evolved to exploit a brand new habitat that hadn't existed before. The number that came back stunned researchers. Roughly 170,000 years ago, give or take. That is the hidden fingerprint of the first clothing. Not a cave painting, not a tool, an insect's family tree. But here's where the mystery deepens. 170,000 years ago is far too early for the Ice Age migrations into Europe, which happened tens of thousands of years later. Humans were still in Africa when clothing first appeared. Warm, equatorial Africa. So if it wasn't cold that drove humans to cover their bodies, what was it? The leading theory is unsettling. Around that same period, Africa's climate was swinging wildly. Sudden cold snaps interrupting long, warm stretches. A hairless, sweat-cooled body that thrived in constant heat would have been dangerously exposed during even brief temperature drops, especially at night. Clothing may not have started as a fashion choice or a modesty rule. It may have started as emergency insulation, invented and reinvented by small groups, just trying to survive a handful of unusually cold nights. And once that trick existed, it changed everything. A species that could manufacture its own portable microclimate was no longer trapped by geography. Cold stopped being a wall. It became a door. This single invention is arguably why you exist at all outside of Africa. Without it, humans stay confined to warm latitudes forever. The ice ages simply lock everyone out. With it, humans walk into Siberia, cross into the Arctic Circle, and eventually into the Americas. Every population on Earth that isn't African equatorial is, in some sense, downstream of a hairless primate figuring out how to fake having fur again. And the strangest part is that your body still remembers the trade you made. Goosebumps, that reflex that makes the hair on your arms stand up when you're cold or frightened, are a leftover command from an ancestor who actually had fur to fluff up for insulation. The command still fires. The fur that used to answer it is gone. You are, right now, wearing the evidence of a 2-million-year-old bet. The moment your ancestors gambled away their coats for the ability to run prey into the ground, and then had to reinvent warmth from scratch using someone else's skin. Every time you put on a jacket, you're still finishing that same emergency fix. Your ancestors first improvised 170,000 years ago, one cold night in Africa with nothing but hide. Insects that hadn't evolved yet to prove it happened, and no other choice.